Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Today we're talking about a fanfiction called Fallen God. Details about the fanfiction will be in the description below. This takes place during Injustice, the movie, not the game, and this is basically all of it's just like Clark's healing journey, right? Because Londa comes in, she's actually like his therapist, right? Someone to be there, like, hear him out and everything. Londa is also Kryptonian. She's from planet Krypton. She is a lantern, a blue lantern. So she's off traveling around, and then she came back there because she sensed, a lot of grief, rage. So, but she came back and saw clearly, like, oh, you're not great. She came back right as like before, like, so she saved him, like his dad, right before the arrow was gonna hit, and he was just gonna die. He's fine. They fought for a bit because obviously Clark, and he was taken off guard for a second too because Londa was incredibly used to the Earth's atmosphere and just like everything in general. She's completely fine. She don't really need that. So, but they battle for a bit. She beats his ass. Fantastic. And she's just like, as she's like talking to Clark's, just casually talking to Clark's dad, being like, she's reassuring him. It's like, I'll help him. Like, don't worry. Because like, he's right now, he's not great. But after that, he's unconscious. And she's just like, okay, goodbye now. And just leaves everyone else there. It's like, you fight amongst yourself. I'm leaving now. She just kind of takes off in a direction. They end up staying in a cave for a bit, right? She puts up a barrier, right, to protect them from the cold, and she heals Clark's wounds, and that's where a surprise visitor comes in. As she like had just gotten back from hunting some food. It's Batman. So he's there. He's like, I come bear some gifts, right? He basically gives them like, okay, it's a GPS that gives them directions to a cabin that in the woods so they can stay, right? Keep an eye on him. Clark needs this, Jesus Christ. So she takes off. They go there, real nice, tucks him in, and leaves her at that. And she tries cooking. It doesn't end up great. I think she tried cooking eggs first or something else. It either way was burnt. And I guess that's what woke him up, was like the burnt food. And she's casually doesn't even, she's like, I don't know what I did wrong. And he's like, he tenses up like he's about to fight her, right? He's like, he clearly wants to be let go. She's like, if you fight me again, I'm not healing you again. It's like, I'm not healing you a second time. You're just going to sit there with those wounds. Immediately drops it, right? So she's like, but I guess. So she makes some tea. She's like, and so she's like, so tell me how you are. It's like therapies and such. She's basically like, so tell me like how you are. It's like how, like, it's like, and like how they got to this point, right? And Clark, like, even kind of surprised herself too, just kind of spills his guts though, right? Everything happened kind of up to that point. And Londa she understands, but at the same time, wow, control and like, this is not the same thing, right? You basically want to control everything in the world. This is not great. No, right? And he's like, you don't understand. So he goes off into, the room, and she can sense it. He's trying to bust out. It's not going to work because she covered the entire cabin in a barrier, right? So it's all protected by her. They're not getting out. So he's stuck there, and he's basically just forced to be there and like confront his feelings and really dismantle everything. There's no way he can't walk off. I mean, he can walk to the room. He's still in the house though. Like, there's no way. Like, there's nowhere to go. He's just there. So you might as well talk it out with her. as like as time goes on, right, he spends, as weeks, days turn weeks and months, like he spends time there, right? Like a long time, right? And I mean, at first, obviously, he wants out. He doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to be around her. He doesn't like her in the beginning. He's like, he should be out there, what he thinks is saving the world anyway. And, she refuses to let him go. But one thing that does get him to like, because he feels guilty over it, right? Because he almost kind of like implies that she doesn't understand, but she does, because she also lost, her love. Not in a certain way, obviously, but she lost him. So like she understands his grief. Um, and as it turns into weeks, they stretch. Like Clark slowly kind of grows. Through the conversations, grows a bit softer. And then we hit in the bump in the road of where he falls into depression. So we're going through cycles now. He falls into depression. Okay, makes sense, right? He blames himself for not being able to save Lois and her child. He, and then after everything he did, right, to in the name of like saving everyone, it was like you kind of were like on track to becoming a tyrant, So it's like not great. And so he hears about it though, because he falls in like she's was the TV, because she's like trying to desperately turn it off, but it's like different news outlets and channels basically like, I don't say smearing his name. I mean, because like he did do all of it. I feel like that implies like, oh, he did it, right? And they were rightfully, scared, and they're like, what is happening? And they just they, so they kind of regard him as like this, like this was our savior, and he turned into this, right? How could he fall so far? Like he's now like he promised to protect us and he turned against us, is what it kind of seems like. And honestly, if you just suddenly announce to the world, it's like all things, like whatever, all crime is, blah, blah. And I'm like, all I got from that, and I feel like most normal people was like, well, shit, shoplifting is a crime now. I mean, it's always been a crime, but like, I'm gonna die for like stealing a Pop Tart. No. So, but Clark hears it. Of course, he does. Super hearing. He doesn't need to be in the room for it, and because that's how he already feels, right? So to hear that it is also what other people think is like even more, just disheartening. But like, of course, Londa's there. She's like, well, you did it, but like you were grieving, and it's like it's not really an excuse of like why you did it, but they don't understand why. But there's always room, for, moving forward, be better in the future, and to not get to this point anymore. And in return, I mean, they didn't done this over the past couple of weeks where Clark, they'll sometimes trade stories, but for the most part, in the beginning, it's him, because he doesn't want to like focus on anything else. Him hearing stories from her, like adventures, like in space, different planets, doing whatever. And so she ends up telling him, like, especially about, because they're both Kryptonians, Krypton, right? Because what, for her, we learn is that she became a ring bearer. She was young. Her parents thought it was a good idea to, send her off to them, right? Blue Lantern, okay. And she was like, she's a kid, and she was thrown into it almost too early, right? Because for a kid, that's a lot. Thrown into space battles, war, that's a lot to be kind of, seeing. And then by the time she heard the cries and felt, the massive amount of grief, she had come back to her planet being gone, and everyone, they're dead. So, which is very, like, it's like you're all facing various battles. Like, that's very sad. It's like then the next time you come, like, you want to see your parents again, they're dead. Like, and so it's like all your people. 2 more months pass, and this is where he breaks out of his depressive episode, right? And he's on track to being not the same, because he'll never be the same, obviously, but he has that like that spark for life again after breaking out of his depressive episode. And so they trade stories back, and they trade stories back and forth, right? He reminisces about time with Lois, and she tells him, because it's only fair, about Joru. Joru? Yeah. and who he was, because they're both, him and Lois, are very similar. They often made kind of reckless choices, but that's what they found. Like, that's how they lived their lives, and they both found that very, it's what they fell in love with, right? And this is also because it's been half a year. Clark doesn't want to acknowledge it, right? He's like, he finds himself like in his head complimenting her a lot. He likes the sound of her voice, barely even really listen to what he's actually saying. He just likes the sound of her voice. But he doesn't acknowledge those feelings because it's, again, been half a year. Things feeling like it's too much, too fast, right? It hasn't been that long at all since Lois. By this point, 6 months have passed, and it's almost time to leave, right? For her to go back to what she was doing and for Clark to get back out there. But that doesn't really happen because Clark just kind of keeps delaying it, right? Just kind of, which is fine. It's like you have to immediately be back ready, right? 'Cause she makes a promise of like, it's we're not leaving right now. It's like I'll be here whenever you're ready, and she does keep that promise, right? She keeps delaying her missions and that she's supposed to get back out there to be with him, so he's comfortable. Uh, Bruce, obviously, he ends up coming because he needs to talk to Clark, and he's like, he just says it to him straight. It's like, it's time, right? It's time for you to get back out there. And Clark is apprehensive, right? He's worried. He's not ready, and Bruce gets this obviously. So he's like, I'm not asking you to step back out there like as Superman, just as Clark, right? Because he says like, I'm tired, right? So it's like, I'm not asking you to come back as Superman. I'm asking you to come back as just Clark, to get back out there with your life, to ready to move on, right? And it almost seems like it really has, like, talking to Bruce worked, because as they sit down for dinner, him and Londa, they talk about it. And, but then he asks, like, oh, well, where will you go after this? Like, back to the stars. Immediately after, he's like, you know what, I'm not ready. He's stalling so bad. He's like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And because he says, like, he's kind of scared of, wanting more, moving on, the unknown in general. And that's true, partly, but also definitely partly because, he just doesn't want her to go. Because she's been putting off her mission. She's got to go. But they don't end up like, talking or anything because, she sensed it, and old evil's come. It's Darkseid. Fantastic. So, and Clark instantly puts on a suit, ready to go. So as they fly over there, battle ensues, getting close to death. She ends up getting another ring, so fantastic. She's now a dual wielder, right? So she's Blue Lantern and Green Lantern. Fantastic. So she ends up healing Clark because he was close to death. It's not right. And they're in like the watchtower for a bit, because instead of the cabin, because they needed medical attention. 6 months after defeating Darkseid, great, flawless victory. Clark takes steps to getting his life back together, right, and rebuilding his trust with Earth as Superman, obviously. Metropolis, they pay respect to Metropolis. They start rebuilding it to new Metropolis, of course. Diana still doesn't like her. Still doesn't like her at all. The only time she was ever nice to her was when she said, like, okay, like, she was leaving, because obviously now it's like, it's time to go, right? That was it. That was the only time she was nice to her, because she came out, like, after that, she came out to her and was like, and thanked her for helping Clark. It's the only time, and then never again because I never had any interaction ever again. I mean, actually, no, she shoulder checked her. Okay, there's that. It's like petty, but whatever. So it was only she found it fitting that, she has her last meal on Earth with, sounds like she's dying. She has her last meal with Clark and his dad, and so they celebrate, her leaving, Clark getting together again. It's great. And as she's about to leave, Clark, comes up to her, and at this point, pretty clear because Clark, at first with his feelings, just didn't acknowledge them. Just kind of refused to acknowledge it. Too soon, too fast, too much of everything. But obviously, slowly over time, as months pass, it's like, can't really ignore them anymore. And he, you know, it's not like he's trying to replace Lois or anything like that. But he's really come to fall for Londa. And so as he goes in to like for a kiss, she stops it, right? Because she's like it's too soon. She's like, and I don't desire to be a replacement. Ooh, strikes the chord in Clark, right? Because it's like, but she kind of starts floating up, and he does want her to go, but she's like, oh, we'll see each other again one day. Yeah, that sounded promising. So, then no, seven, because he's real depressed about it, but 7 months after she left, Clark starts rebuilding, everything's pretty much kind of the same for her because she's still on the front lines battling out, doing tasks and missions, so they've kind of blurred together for her. For Clark, he now runs a small newspaper company, cute, and he's kind of slowly getting his life back on track, right? People now look at Superman and it's no longer fear, but it is like they're still watching him, as if waiting for like, the other shoe to drop, which, makes sense. Because, I mean, I'm not going to get over that. He gets a surprise visit from Lon, and, they talk for a bit because he's like pleasantly surprised, like she's back. So they talk for a bit and they end up reconnecting before she leaves again. This time I was like, oh, when will you be back? Clearly, like, pretty, he doesn't want her to leave. But she's like, I'll be back in a month's time. So they kind of make a habit of like once a month, she'll return and they'll see each other again. But this is enough for him because he just mopes about. And so Bruce, noticing this, had like a communicator device, like it's a bracelet. He gives it to John so that he can give it to her. And John he just know anything about this because it's not like Bruce explained it. He just like gives her, okay. Because when Lon asked like, what is it? I don't know, no idea. She opens it immediately. It's like finding Pear because Bruce he left a note with it. And it's like, I'm tired of seeing him moping around. That's all it said. And then she put the bracelet on. It immediately like started connecting and trying to find his Pear, which obviously was with Clark. Which I'm surprised you even took that without even questioning what it was. But so he's like, oh my god, Lon, like he's surprised. Like it's not like he was told any of this. Like, oh, and she's putting it together with the note. She's like, oh, so you've been moping about, and he's like, what? No, like you were very clearly visibly like upset when she left. So like it's fine. So after the call, he's like, can I call you tomorrow? And then it's like, of course. Like I'll call you back if I don't end up answering. So it's kind of adds to the routine. Jesus. She asked, because she also loses track, she asked John, like, oh, what is the date currently, like, on Earth? Because it's, like, the 3rd, right? And his birthday's on, the 18th or whatever? So it's, like, birthday's coming up. So she wants to give him a present. And it's from Lagoon, some planet like that. It's from, like, an ocean. And it's supposed to bring, like, good luck. So she ends up giving him that as a present. He loves it. and also her, but he doesn't say that. They spend his birthday together, they leave, um, or she leaves. And this is where he goes to Bruce. I love how Bruce is just now the person he goes to, and he's just he's over it. He's like, oh my god, right? Just in the back cave, he's just pacing back and forth. He's like, I don't know what to do, Bruce. He's like, I mean, like, he's like, I love her, but like, I don't want to push too far. Like, do I think I should go for it? Like, what do I do? And he's like, just he's like, oh my god, stop talking, because he's like, first off, it's like, and honestly, the most important question is like, are you even ready to be relationship again? It's like the most important question. Like, yes. It's like, okay, then just let things go how they will, you know? It's like, I don't understand how she puts up your indecisiveness because I can't do it, which rude, but you know, okay. At this point, Clark has very clearly worked out his feelings for Londa, right? Just kind of keeping them to himself, sorta. But Londa hasn't, right? She it was very much kind of oblivious to him in the beginning, and then slowly it kind of crept down on her. But she never says anything, right? Because she doesn't, that fear of she doesn't want to be like if he's not seeing her as her, he doesn't want her. She doesn't want him to look at her and only see like bits of Lois because he has like that has like in the beginning, like when they first kind of like in the cabin when when they first getting to know each other, he saw bits and pieces of Lois in Londa. But obviously that slowly transitioned into just seeing her. But she doesn't know about that. So she doesn't want to be a replacement, like, or a stand-in, nothing, right? She doesn't want to hurt him. And she also doesn't want to get hurt from him. So during one of their, visits, during her visits as, having dinner, it really hits her at this point because it's such a domestic thing of them just having dinner. And it's like, wow, I really love this person, but I don't want to get hurt. So she kind of ends it really abruptly and leaves. So she seeks advice because Clark has Bruce. So she seeks advice from one of her friends because she is a violent lantern ring. Who better to get advice from? And she gives her, right, so because she talks her through it, and by the end of it, she ends up giving her a crystal. So like this will help you determine like if his love for you is real. But she still stalls and like kind of hesitates. Because literally next time we see Clark, he's once again back bothering Bruce in the Batcave, pacing back and forth. He's like, it's been weeks since we see each other. It's like even our calls are short. It's like, what if she's like she needs help? Like what if she's hurt or dead? What if she's fighting and needs help? And it's like Bruce is just the point. She's like, oh my god, shut up. Shut up. So he's like, she's in the Milky Way. What? It's like, yeah, she's in the Milky Way. Because the bracelets have trackers. Of course they do. And she's on the rings of Saturn, basically. So it's like, oh, cool. So he dips. He goes immediately to her. She gets caught off guard. And like as soon as sees him, the crystal breaks, right? It's like a crystal in her ear that it breaks, signifying that Clark isn't seeing, her as a replacement or just seeing like, oh, you remind me of Lois. He really does love her, right? This isn't born from grief of just kind of like, oh, like it's, she's not taking advantage of him in some way. Really, this is like, so now that's cleared up. We're finally all done with it. So now this is where they officially share their first kiss. Real romantic. Just on Saturn. I don't know. Most people can't say that. It's like, I had my first kiss on rings of Saturn. Where'd yours get to? But this is where she ends up saying like, oh, let's go home. Like because she has come to kind of see it as a home, like being there, right? And then the next morning, she leaves again. But, before leaving, she says, this is the last time I'll leave. After this, she won't be chasing stars anymore. She'll stay by his side. And, this is it. And I love how she leaves her clothes there, too. She's like, just leave this here. She's coming back in anyway. So, at this point, he hasn't seen her in months. And no contact, nothing. New Year's, right? They're having a New Year's party. They're counting down. And he wants her back, but I was like so badly, and he's like gonna be like a mood killer, so he kind of decides to leave the party before he brings it down before he can leave. Guess who turns up? Oh my god, it's Londa. And so he's like, celebrate New Year's. And also happy birthday, because it is her birthday. Like, he said it was on the first. And so after that, it's just, because again, she's done with the whole taking, or I shouldn't say taking missions, but like spending all her time in space, really. So now the rest of it, which is like 3 chapters left, is like just their relationship progressing over the course of the months and her getting used to living on Earth, right? And getting a job in, what was it? Helping with a charity. So, and their relationship in between everything. First off, he's worried because she went to Gotham. Plenty of jobs in Gotham. He's like, oh my god, what? No. Probably give that man a heart attack, not gonna lie. Joker's not even there anymore. He's dead. Probably still giving him a heart attack. But so it's just getting her used to Earth, and it ends obviously with Clark proposing. So they end up getting married by the end of this. How sweet. After their marriage, they end up having, she ends up pregnant. We're repeating that. No, but she ends up pregnant. And she doesn't want to be treated as fragile. I mean, obviously, she's not fragile to begin with, considering she's very durable. She's Kryptonian, so it's fine, right? But she's pregnant, not taking any chances. Bruce probably got flashbacks too when they announced it to him. It's like, oh, pregnant. He's like, oh, I'm so happy for you. But also, I'll put in work. He owns everything. Okay, so it's like, but I'll put in work. It's like, that you get maternity leave. And she's like, because this entire time she's been protesting me, like, I'm completely fine. Like, I'd never put our baby in like harm's way, nothing. But like, still, so it's like, so she ends up being on maternity leave. And then obviously they finally have the baby. Especially Jorn. Who's Jorn? John. They finally have their baby, John L. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye!